Hello everyone, I hope you are well. This is Nick, I'm sure you knew that already. Now, shooting these videos in the outside world, which you're never 100% in control of the environment, it's always a little bit of a challenge depending on how many people are about, but it's Thursday, well done. I always have a problem with the daytime, don't I? I'm a big sci-fi fan, as a lot of us are. Grew up with Star Wars, Buck Rogers and all those sorts of ones, but I'm a really big fan of Star Trek. First episodes I saw were the original series with James Kirk and Spock, Shatner and Leonard Nimoy. Used to watch that when I got home from school. The theme music was absolutely brilliant, and the good thing about Star Trek was it wasn't just all explosions and action. It tried to teach you about family. There's always some sort of moral to it each time, and that was followed through with the future series, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine and Voyager, so it's always trying to teach you something. The show was always story based, it was always character based, and it took you on a journey one by one. And when they stopped making the series after Voyager, I got a little bit depressed. Well, not that much really, but I was a bit unhappy about it. There was they did a Star Trek series, which name I temporarily can't remember, with that guy out of Quantum Leap on. Didn't get very many views about it, and it got canned after about 3 seasons, I think. I only ever watched a few episodes of that show. I never really got on with it. What I like about Star Trek was the classical music at the start, and this started with some cheesy, feel like 70s or 80s singing on the front, and it just turned me off completely, and I never ended up watching the show. The creator of Star Trek, Gene Roddenberry, who unfortunately is no longer with us, he would look at all the scripts on the original series and The Next Generation, and if it wasn't Star Trek, the script wasn't Star Trek, i.e. telling you a moral story or a character-based story, something you can learn from, then it wasn't deemed as Star Trek, so it didn't go forward as an actual show. Because his argument was, I think, that if it's not telling you a story, anything moral, it's just a regular, just random sci-fi thing. It isn't actually physically Star Trek. And the subsequent films that were released, starting with the motion picture, The Search for Spock, Wrath of Khan, all of those, they kept roughly the same sort of idea. It's like a family in space, this utopia, but not without its problems. And then going through to the Next Generation sort of films, there was a film called Generations, which is a crossover between the old Star Trek cast and the new. There's a number of other ones as well, ending in Nemesis. And I really liked those films. I thought that was really good. And then the franchise got rebooted and everything changed. I like the casting of the rebooted Star Trek film. I'm already going off subject now. Star Trek film, but it wasn't no longer Star Trek anymore. It was just a regular sci-fi film. It wasn't teaching you any morals at all. It's all about explosions in space. And Star Trek for me had got too close to what Star Wars was. There was no like huge difference. I believe they made about 3 of these new films. I've watched a couple of them. I actually own a couple of them because I'm a huge Star Trek, but I can't look at them as Star Trek anymore. They're something else. Yeah, something else entirely. And then it was with great excitement that a new TV series was coming out of Star Trek. I thought, okay, we're going to return to this character-based storyline, these morals, how to solve problems, people working together. And that was Star Trek Discovery. But unfortunately, that was the same sort of thing, set before the original Star Trek. Again, it's about explosions and not too much else. And I only watched 1 episode. I found the whole thing rather shallow. Star Trek now seems to be desperately lacking Gene Roddenberry's touch. I don't think he would have let any of these shows continue or signed his thumb of approval on these like plot lines, and they would have gone a bit different. But yeah, I don't know what the answer is really. But I'm a retro guy. And quite easily, when you get to a certain age, it's quite easy to think everything in the past was brilliant and everything in the future was terrible. Now, these new Star Trek films, I do like the graphics on them. It's an epic space adventure, but it is not Star Trek. I don't blame the makers really. It's all about money now, isn't it? And if you're going to put millions and millions of pounds or dollars into producing a film, you've got to make sure people are watching it. So you've got to cater for the masses, and that's essentially what the masses want. Instant action, not much build-up of storyline, selling toys. It's all about merchandise, and these slow building stories, perhaps it's what the market don't want anymore. there was a time when they was going to, they did all the Blu-rays of Star Trek Next Generation. They was going to do Deep Space Nine as well, which I was looking forward to, which I probably would have bought at the time. But then they said not enough people would buy it, so people don't seem to want that level of Star Trek anymore. They want this new level. So if you're a Star Trek fan, what are your views on that? Are you an old Trekkie? Are you a new Trekkie? Or you like both of them and don't mind either and think they're pretty equal? I personally think they're missing the storylines there, and it's not as rich, it's not as strong as it was before, but that's only my personal opinion. So let me know what you think about that. I still like Star Trek, whatever, but as I say, that and Star Wars have got quite close together now, unless they reboot the stories. Now, I've heard that Patrick Stewart might be coming back in an existing Star Trek series or a new Star Trek series, so that might rescue it a little bit, so I'll keep my fingers crossed for that and look forward to NE News. So, better head back to base. Thank you for watching again, and I'll see you later on.